Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Balaba Grivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Balaba Grivaradhari Jaya Yasodhanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yamuna Chiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachariyam Jaya Raja Madhava Kunjabhiya Hari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Balaba Grivaradhari Jaya Gopijana Balaba Grivaradhari Jaya Yasodhanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Bhaja Janaranjana Yamuna Chiravanachari Yamuna Chiravanachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Nityago Haribo, 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 Nityago Haribo, Nityago. Jaya Vishnupa Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Sutasata Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Jaya Vishnupa Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Sutasata Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Hananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. He is confounder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Nama Chaya Shlaridas Thakur ki. Prem Sikha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Siva Shari Gopa Bhakta ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakonda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhana ki. Vrindavan Dham ki. Mayapur Dham ki. Dwarka Dham ki. Yaganapi Dham ki. Gangamaya Yamuna Maya ki. Tassa Devi Bhakti Devi ki. Shnitai Gopi Manande. All glory to the same devotees. All glory to the same devotees. All glory to the same devotees. All glory to the lotus feet of Sri Guru Gauranga. Gyana Timendasya Ganangana Salakaya Chaksusumilita Yena Tasma Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtan Stapita Yena Bhutale Sayarupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikan Vandehan Sri Guru Sitam Padakamala Sri Guru Vaishnava Bhagavatamcha Sri Rupam Sakyatan Sahagana Raghunata Vitantan Sajivan Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanan Saitan Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devan Sri Radha Krishna Parasahagana Lalita Shri Visakhavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vesabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Haripriye Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kansa Chanara Madana Devaki Paramananda Govinda Ya Namo Krishna Bhante Jagaguru Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Pima Padayate Krishna Ya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Guru Tuse Nama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Shimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivise Sanyavari Prashyata Desacharine Vanchakapatarubhyascha Kripasvindribhya Cha Patitanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namah Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I thank everyone for coming this evening to the Bhagavad Gita class. I also thank those who are watching from Vrindavan TV. So today we are in chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, text number 5. So Lord Krishna is talking to his very dear devotee friend, Arjuna. who is hearing this message of the Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna is said to be the cowherd who is making the cow. And the cow is the cow of the Upanishads making it. And Arjuna is the drinker, is drinking this. He's not the drinker, but it's the calf who is standing before the cow. So Krishna is making the cow, and the cow, which is the Upanishad, so it's a Sava Upanishadu Gabo, Dubda Gopalanandana. All the cows, all the Upanishads, they are considered to be cow. And then the maker of the cow is Arjuna. Pato Batsa means calf. So Arjuna is the calf. Pato Batsa Suri Bhakta Dukta Gitam Vitam Mahat. So the great saints, the great devotees, so they are the one who is drinking this nectarian. This nectar that is coming from the hand of Lord Krishna. So Krishna is speaking the Bhagavad Gita and it's being relished by the great devotees. So at the beginning, Lord Krishna said, at the beginning of this chapter, Lord Krishna said, I have spoken this knowledge. This same Bhagavad Gita, I spoke it some millions and millions of years ago. At least 120 million years ago to Vivasvan. Vivasvan is the sun god who first heard this Bhagavad Gita. So from the calculation, it's said to be like 120 million years ago. So as Arjuna heard this, he became very doubtful. Arjuna said, how is that? We were both born some 120 years ago, because the time when Krishna was speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna on the battle of Kurukshetra, it was like Krishna was about 120 years old. The 90 so Arjuna was the same age as Krishna. So Arjuna, he said that, how is it that you spoke this knowledge to sun god some millions of years ago when we are just the same age? We were both born some 100 years ago. So how is that? So now Krishna is now replying to this question of Arjuna. So we can all repeat together. śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi nātam vettha paran-tapa bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi nātam vettha paran-tapa śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi nātam vettha param-tapa. śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi nātam vettha param-tapa. śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi nātam vettha param-tapa. Anybody? śrī-bhagavān uvāca bahūni me vyatītāni janmāni tava cārjuna tāny aham veda sarvāṇi na tvam veda paran-tapa. śrī-bhagavān uvāca, the Personality of Godhead said, bahūni, many, me, of mine, vyatītāni, have passed, janmāni, birth, tava, of years, and also Arjuna, O Arjuna, tāny, those, aham, I, veda, do know, sarvāṇi, all, not, tvam, you, vettha, no, paran-tapa, O subduer of the enemy. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki. In the Brahma-saṁhitā 533, we have information of many incarnations of the Lord. It is stated there, advaitam, acyutam, ananta-rūpam, ahaṁ purana puruṣam navayovanam ca, vede sudulabhanadulabhanatma bhakto govindamadi puruṣan tamaham bhajami. What? I'm reading purport now. I'm reading the purport now. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I did the translation already. I did not? Okay, translation. The Personality of Godhead, sir. Many births, both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Purport. In the Brahma-saṁhitā, we have information of many incarnations of the Lord. It is stated there, advaitam, acyutam, ananta-rūpam, ādiyam purana puruṣam navayovanam ca, vede sudulabhanadulabhanatma bhakto govindam adipuruṣam tamaham bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning. Although expanded into unlimited forms, he is still the same original, the oldest, and the person always appearing as a fresh youth. Such eternal, blissful, all-knowing forms of the Lord are usually not understood by even the best Vedic scholars, but they are always manifest to pure, unalloyed devotees. It is also stated in Brahma-saṁhitā 539, Rama demote sukala niyamena tishnam nanam bataram akarun bhuvane sukintu Krishnan swayam samabhavat paramam pumanyo govindam adi puruṣam tamaham bhajami. I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda Krishna, who is always situated in various incarnations, such as Rama, Nisringa, and many sub-incarnations as well. But who is the original personality of Godhead known as Krishna, and who incarnates personally also. In the Vedas also it is said that the Lord, although one without a second, manifests himself in innumerable forms. He is like the Vaidya stone which changes color yet still remains one. All these multi-forms are understood by the pure or unalloyed devotees, but not by a simple study of the Vedas. Vedesu dulaban adlaban atmabhakto. Devotees like Arjuna are constant companions of the Lord. And whenever the Lord incarnates, the associate devotees also incarnate in order to serve the Lord in different capacities. Arjuna is one of these devotees. And in this verse, it is understood that some millions of years ago, when Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Bibhaswan, Arjuna, in different capacity, was also present. But the difference between the Lord and Arjuna is that the Lord remembered the incident, whereas Arjuna could not remember. That is the difference between the part and parcel living entity and the Supreme Lord. Although Arjuna is addressed herein as a mighty hero who could subdue the enemies, he is unable to recall what had happened in his various past births. Therefore, a living entity, however great he may be in the material estimation, can never equal the Supreme Lord. Anyone who is a constant companion of the Lord is certainly a liberated person, but he cannot be equal to the Lord. The Lord is described in the Brahma-saṁhitā as infallible acyutam, which means that he never forgets himself, even though he is in material contact. Therefore, the Lord and the living entity can never be equal in all respects, even if the living entity is as liberated as Arjuna. Although Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, he sometimes forgets the nature of the Lord. But by the divine grace, a devotee can at once understand the infallible condition of the Lord, whereas a non-devotee or a demon cannot understand this transcendental nature. Consequently, these descriptions in the Gita cannot be understood by demoniac brains. Krishna remembered acts which were performed by him millions of years ago before. But Arjuna could not, despite the fact that both Krishna and Arjuna are eternal in nature. We may also note herein that a living entity forgets everything due to his change of body. But the Lord remembers because he does not change his such another body. He is advaita, which means is non-dual, which means there is no distinction between his body and himself. Everything in relation to him is spirit, whereas the conditioned soul is different from his material body. And because the Lord's body and self are identical, his position is always different from that of the ordinary living entity, even when he descends to the material platforms. The demons cannot adjust themselves to this transcendental nature of the Lord, which the Lord himself explains in the following verse. Then the Lord continues explaining. So the Lord said that, my form is eternal. I am unborn. Aja means unborn. So someone who is unborn, he has no birth. So because he has no birth, so therefore there's no such a thing as death. Even though some people may say that, when Krishna came, 5,000 years ago, he was shot in the foot by a hunter, in Prabhu's kshetra, and then he left his body. So Lord Krishna says that those who are demoniac, they can never understand the nature of my appearance and disappearance. Jama kame chane divyan. Because my appearance and disappearance, my activities, it's divyan, it's transcendental. So here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that me and you, we have taken so many births. Bahūni me vyatītāni. Bahūni means so many births that me and you have taken. But I can remember all of them, but you cannot. You cannot. So what's the difference? Because the Lord is all spiritual, his body is all spiritual body. His body is the same, even though it may take many incarnations, but his body is all the same. His body remains the same because his body is spiritual. It mentioned that when the Lord was here 5,000 years ago, he made his appearance in Vrindavan. From childhood, his body was growing up. He was a Bala. Bala Gopa was there. Then Kaishura, then the Poganda age, which is around 6-7 years old, and then Kaishura age, and then Yovana age. So there are 4 transformations by which the body goes through. But this transformation, these are all spiritual, they are not material. Because each of these forms, they are meant to give pleasure to his devotees. When the Lord is a Bal Gopa, as a child, he gives so much bliss to his parents. His Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all the elderly gopis, the elderly gopas. They all relish so much this childhood form of Krishna. And then, when he's a little bit grown up, he was going to the forest with his friends, taking the cows to the forests, lifted Govardhan Hill, so many things like that. And then, becoming Kaishura age, in that age, then he was the love of the gopis. Here the gopis, they will play in the forest, they will dance together, all these things. Now, each of these forms, either Bala age or Poganda age or Kaishura age, these are eternal forms. Because the devotees who are situated in different categories of rasa, the devotees, they have this eternal form of Krishna with them. Like Krishna is eternally a Bal Gopa, to Mother Yashoda, to Nanda Maharaj, elderly gopis. Krishna is eternally a Bal Gopa, child, small boy, small child, eternally that form. And then to his friends, he's eternally that form of Poganda, 6-7 years old, eternally that form. And then the Kaishuri age, that form is eternal. So he mentioned that yes, Krishna has different age from the description, but his age is never past that of a 16-year-old. It's called a Navakishore. It means it's always eternally youthful, Navakishore. It never passed that age of 16-year-old. Even though it's mentioned in the Brahma-saṁhitā, it said that Adyam Puranam Purusham Navayovi. Now, it said Adyam Puranam is the origin. He's the original person. Ishvara Paramakrishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govindam Savakarana Karanam. He's the Ishvara, Paramakrishna, Supreme Ishvara, Supreme Controller. He's the controller of all the controller. He's the Anādim. He has no beginning, but he's the origin of everything. And he's the prime cause of all causes. So that's the way the Vedas describe him. And then also, it mentioned here that Adyam Puranam. Yes, he's the original person, but he's also the oldest person. He's the oldest person. In the entire creation, either material or spiritual, he's the oldest person. So now, in this material world, our idea of old person is different. When we say a person is old, it's like very, very old, like white hair and so many things like that. Cannot walk properly. That's our idea of an old person. Just like we have in the, there's this picture of the Christian church. They have this picture of God, who's like the judge, and he's very, very old person, and he's sitting there in the heaven, he's sitting there in the higher planet, and he's simply there trying to judge you that okay, if you're good, you go to heaven. If you're bad, you go to hell. And that's what he does all day long, and that's what he does. So God, being an old person, is very, very old. He's old. He's very, very old. But no, the Veda says no. He said that yes, he's the oldest person, but at the same time, he's Navayovanam. He's eternally youthful. You will never see the picture of Krishna or the picture of any form of God, avatar. You will never see their picture as old. They always remain the same. They remain youthful. They have the eternal beauty. And that's why the Lord is attractive, because it's eternally beautiful. There's no such a thing as been old. Even though he's the oldest person, but the form remains youthful, because the form is spiritual form. Sachit Ananda Vigraha. Eternally form, full of bliss. No old age is there. Then, of course, the Lord performed pastime in order to give pleasure to his devotees. So he performed many, many pastimes to become somebody's child or somebody's friend, somebody's master, or somebody's lover, like the gopis. So he did all this just to give pleasure to his devotees. So Arjuna, Krishna is telling Arjuna, because when Arjuna was very curious, because Krishna said that I first spoke this knowledge some millions of years ago to the sun god, Vivaswan. So I'm repeating the same knowledge unto you. But Arjuna said that, look, we are the same age. So how can you say that you first spoke this knowledge to the sun god millions of years ago? So Krishna said that, yes, I've taken many, many births. Me and you, we have taken so many, many births. Me and you. But I can remember all of them, but you cannot. That's the difference between the living entity and God. The difference between living entity and God is that because his body is all spiritual, so he's the knower of past, present, and future. He knows everything, past, present, and future. The Lord has taken so many, many incarnations. He has taken a lot of incarnations. And all those incarnations, and the Lord, he can remember all the incarnations that he has taken. He can remember that. He's never forgetful of it, because he's the Supreme Lord. Whereas the living entity, the living entity is also eternal, but in the material world, the living entity also takes so many, many different births. And the fact that one is a living entity is that one is subject to forgetful. As a living entity, one is unable to remember one's past life. One's unable to remember it. That's just not possible. That's different. Because that's the nature of material body. Material body is subject to forgetfulness. You cannot. Whereas spiritual body, it's always full remembered, is there. Spiritual body is never forgetful. The Lord is in possession of spiritual body. His body is spiritual. So there can be no forgetfulness. So either the Lord is in this material world or is internally in the spiritual world, he remained the same. Because his body is never material. So if his body is never material, how can you be forgetful? When Gagamuni, when he came to Vrindavan, when he came to Vrindavan for Krishna's child naming ceremony, because he had been invited by Nanda Maharaj to come and conduct naming ceremony for Krishna and Balaram. So Gagamuni, who is a great sage, so Gagamuni told Nanda Maharaj that your child is known, he has come in a different ages. And according to different ages, he assumed different colors. Sometimes he's whitish, sometimes he's yellowish, and sometimes he's blackish. He said in this particular birth is now blackish, but previously he was whitish, he was yellowish, different colors he has taken. Very good story. When the Chaitanya Prabhu, when he was performing his childhood pastimes. So one time Mahaprabhu was child, he was like a small boy. So there was one Brahmana who had visited the house of Jagannath Mishra. He had visited. So this Brahmana, he had come, and the Jagannath Mishra invited the Brahmana to the house, and he told the Brahmana that, because normally the Brahmanas, their particular food, they only cook their own food. Nobody can cook for them. They only cook their own food. So this Brahmana is a pilgrimage. He normally travels to all places of pilgrimage. He travels everywhere. In this particular situation, he had come to Navadvip. And then he came to the house of Jagannath Mishra, the house of Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu was a child, Nimai. So this Brahman, so when after everybody had gone to sleep, so he cooked his food, he prepared his meal, and then when he prepared the meal, he decided to make the offering to the Lord. He decided to make the offering, but when he made the offering, when he was calling out Gopal, he was calling out to make his offering. Immediately, the child Nimai immediately came, because he immediately came. Immediately came, and then they started eating the offering. So he cried out, he said, "Oh, what is this? This child has come to spoil the offering. What has this child done?" Because the child is simply eating the food. And then when he cried out, and everybody in the household, they all came running to the room where the Brahmana was. And then the Brahmana told them what has happened, that he was just about to make his offering. Then this boy came and started, eating the offering. So Jagannath Mishra became very, very angry. He took up his stick to beat the boy. But the Brahmana said, "Oh, you can't do that. He's a boy, he doesn't know anything. He's a child, he doesn't know anything. You can't do that. Don't worry. Maybe it's the Lord's arrangement that I not eat anything tonight. So therefore, you don't have to worry. I'm just going to sleep." And then Jagannath Mishra begged the Brahman that, "Please, you have come here. So please, we're going to provide you another ingredient. You can cook again. So that you can take your meal." So after a lot of pleading, the Brahmana cooked again. He cooked rice and all that. He cooked rice, cooked the ingredient. And then it was again, but then he started to make his offering. When he was meditating on the Lord to make his offering, even though the even though Nima, even though he was far away, he was locked up in some room, still he came. With the moment the Brahmana was meditating to make the offering, and the child came. And then immediately they started taking the morsel of the rice and started eating. So the Brahmana was saying, what is this? What is this? What's going on here? So, and then this happened 3 times. And then the Lord told him, said, dude, you have called me. You have called me, so therefore I came. You have called me, so therefore I came. So the Brahmana was confused. What do you mean I have called you? So and the Lord told him that, look, 5,000 years ago in Vrindavan, you also came to the house of Nanda Maharaj. The same thing you came, you're making the friend. You called me and I came to eat your food. You came, you did the same 5,000 years ago. Don't you remember? And then eventually the Lord revealed his form. He revealed his Vishnu form his form to the Brahmana. So the Brahmana was very, very, very happy. He said, oh, this is the Lord himself. So the Lord, as Prabhu was mentioned in the purport, that when the Lord comes and performs many, many pastimes, he always comes with his devotees. Because the Lord, whenever he has to incarnate in the material world, he always does incarnation with his devotees. The Lord does not come alone. He's always with his devotees. So his devotees, they're also eternal, so they always accompany him, his devotees. Any activity the Lord wants to perform, his devotees, he's always there. So his devotees like Arjuna, he also was always with the Lord, even though he may be there in a different capacity. In a different capacity, he may be there, but it's always there with the Lord. So here the Lord is saying that we both of us, we have taken many, many births because I've incarnated myself. I come in many, many avatars. Ram avatar, Nishinga avatar, Ramadi Modi Sukalani Yamina to instant an avatar Bonesukentu. The Lord say, in many, many incarnations, the Lord comes. Ram, Nishingadev, Kumadev, Machi avatar. So many, many avatars the Lord's come. But I must mention Krishna Swayam Samabhava Paramam. So the original person is there who comes and performs many, many pastimes. But so why the Lord? Because the Lord is the same person. He can remember everything, but the devotee who may be accompanying him, they will not be able to remember their previous situation. They may not be able to remember because the Lord the living entity is called Anu, which means it's minute, whereas the Lord is Vibhu. It's always fully, it's great. Vibhu means complete manifestation. Whereas the living entity is always tiny. It's tiny in every capacity. So talking about this point of how the Lord is telling Arjuna that me and you, we have come many, many times before. I can remember all of them, but you cannot remember. So the Lord was talking with Muchukunda. This is described in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam. Yeah. Muchukunda was a devotee who had been sleeping for a long period of time. Muchukunda was a person who killed Kalayaban through the fire that is coming from his face, from his eye. So Muchukunda was the Lord's devotee, and then the Lord was telling Muchukunda, he said, Jama kama bidanani santimbeanga sahasasaha na shakyante nusankyantum ananta-rūpam maya pihi. So the Lord is saying, my dear friend, I have taken thousands of births. lived thousands of lives, and accepted thousands of names. In fact, my birth, activities, and names are limitless, and thus even I cannot count them. So the Lord says, innumerable, innumerable appearances, innumerable incarnations. No one can even count them. The Lord said, even I cannot count them. Now, the fact that he said that I cannot count them does not mean that there's a limitation, because there's never any limitation on the part of the Lord. There's no limitation about him. He can remember any and every single one of his appearances. Then the Lord continues speaking. Kuachi rajansi bimane pati vyani uru janmāni guna kama bidānāni name janmāni kārichit. Now the Lord says, after many lifetimes, someone might count the dust particles on the earth, but no one can ever finish counting my qualities, activities, names, and birth. He said that maybe a time may come. Actually, Lord Brahma also make a prayer like that in the chapter 14 of the 10th canto. He make a prayer that maybe a time may come when some great scientist, some great learned person may be able to count all the particles, the molecules of all the particles of sand in a desert or on the earth. But still, no one will ever be able to count the innumerable qualities of the Lord. The Lord's qualities, the Lord's names, no one will be able to count it. So the Lord says that yes, maybe after many lifetimes, someone might count the dust particles on the earth. But God is unlimited. The Lord is unlimited in everything. There's just no limit. No limit to his qualities, no limit to his capacities. And that's why people become confused when they try to understand the Lord with their own mental speculation. With their own mental gymnastics, they try to understand the Lord. So what happens? They get confused. They may say, and then they try to describe him as not this, not that, netty. You have the way people try to describe God, that it's not this, it's not that, this. So therefore they get confused. He said that you fools. So he told all these speculators that you are simply a bunch of fools. You try to understand God by your own mental speculation. You try to understand him through this capability of not this, not that, netty. Try to understand him. Say that you're a young bunch of fools. Just worship Govinda. Worship him. You can't understand God by your own. We only understand God. We can never understand him fully, but a devotee can understand God by the virtue of devotion through bhakti, but only to the extent that the Lord wants him to understand it. Because knowledge of him is unlimited. So, even though you may be a very intelligent person, no matter what you are, only to the extent that the Lord wants you to understand him. That's why you see there are so many sages. So many rishis are there who all have many understanding of God, of the Lord. But you can listen to different sadhus, different sages. You will hear different things. You will never hear the same thing. You will hear different things, not the same. And everybody will describe the Lord only according to their particular capability. Only according to how the Lord is enabled them to understand him. Then they can describe the Lord accordingly. So therefore the Lord, he said that once you simply satisfy himself by simply be be a devotee, do bhajan of me. So the does say, Kala trayopa, panani jama kamani me nipa, anu kramando nayabantam, gajanti paramasaya. O king, the greatest sages enumerate my birth and activities, which take place throughout the three phases of time, but never do they reach the end of time. The end of them. Never do they reach the end of them. As the Lord says, the sages, many sages, great sages. Narada Muni, Ashita, Devala, Agastya, Vishwamitra, so many, Vashishta, great sages, great personalities. The Lord said they describe my birth, my activities. And the last pastime takes place in their different time, places, but never do they reach the end of them. So how can anyone say they've reached the end of the Lord? Especially when you see so many varieties, even this material world, which the Lord has manifested from His external energy, we can't even understand it fully. We can't even understand the varieties of this material creation. We can't even understand it fully. We can't. Some knowledge you may have, but you can't really fully understand. There's always something that bewilders you about this material creation. So there's always something that's always bewilders. Especially trying to understand the nature of living entities. Their nature of living entities, they become mind-boggling trying to understand them. So that's this material nature, not to talk of the spiritual world. If this material world cannot be understood, which is a feature of the Lord's external energy, how can one understand, or how can one claim to understand what is in the internal energy of the Lord? How can one claim to understand? And of course, you will find so many bogus who say, oh, now I've given all the knowledge now I'm completely empty. They be telling their disciples this way. Now I've given everything, I've given all knowledge, now I'm totally empty now. It's just some stupid calculation, that's all. So, anyway, the Lord describing his own opulence, is describing his own manifestations. So therefore, the Lord is telling Arjuna that yes, you are my devotees. And now, of course, it's going to be further explained in this chapter 4, the Gita. That's why this chapter is called the Transcendental Knowledge, because the Lord now is not describing himself fully, is describing himself to Arjuna. And also what make Arjuna is a great devotee. The Lord called him paran-tapa. Paran-tapa means the defeater, someone who has defeated his enemies. And that's why Arjuna is son of Kunti. He has defeated his enemies. And what is the enemy? The enemy is the senses. So Arjuna is the defeater of his enemies. So, and therefore, he is a great devotee of the Lord. He's a great devotee of the Lord. So the Lord saying, bahūni vyatītāni, janmāni tava Arjuna. So all the birth, all the previous birth, I know them all, but you cannot. You cannot, because you're a living entity, and I'm God. So the Lord is pointing out the difference between himself and Arjuna. He's pointing out. So as devotee also, what can we do? We can only do by chanting the Lord's name. And when we chant the Lord's name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. By doing that continuously, and we develop taste, doing that chanting, then the Lord manifests within our heart. We can have some understanding of Him. And the more we have some understanding, the more we become more fixed in bhakti. The more we become more fixed in the execution of a devotional service. Okay. So thank you very much. If there is any Any question or comment? Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
You just said that this material world is mind-boggling, and we can't understand this material world. So I got a kind of a goofy question. I was just reading in a Veda base, 1974, Prabhupada on a walk said, and we both read this and heard this, that this is a dream. That the night dream, we dream we're being attacked by a tiger or we're embracing a woman, and it's a short dream for 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, this is a daydream, this is a dream. So if this is a dream, then all of you are in my dream, and we're all participating in my dream every day. I mean, is that the type of a dream he's referring to? If he says at night we dream that I'm flying or I'm being attacked. Mm-hmm. So now I'm dreaming. Am I dreaming this?
Yeah, technically
So I'm dreaming right now with all of you.
Not you.
Well,
Narayan is dreaming. Your
No, it's not. You are dreaming. Narayan is not dreaming.
No, so I'm dreaming this.
Well, it's mentioned that the presence of the living entity in the material world, because in the material world, living entity is asleep. And during that sleep, there's all kinds of dream during the sleep. So, the time of waking up, when one become spiritual, when it comes to spiritual life, waking up to one's spiritual reality, that's a wake up. It can become real. Otherwise, the existence in the material world is a dream actually. And we've been doing for so long, because it is deep sleep and then we are dreaming. Sometimes we are king, we are pauper sometimes, we are rich sometimes, we are poor sometimes. It's all dream of the living entity. The living entity is just dreaming.
Am I dreaming this right now?
Well, no, you are waking up because of devotee.
I'm not being...
Yeah, I know. I know.
But I'm trying to understand what Papa was saying, that there's a night dream, which I understand perfectly well. I dream vividly every night. And he says, this is no different than a daydream. Night dream lasts 20 minutes, this lasts 12 hours. I just read it.
Yeah, that is true. It is.
It's kind of a goofy question.
Yeah, I know. But material world, again, as I say, is a dream. Material world is a dream. And just like I was just working on a book this afternoon, whereby Lord Ram was talking to Lakshman. And Lord Ram said that he's saying that apart from the worship of the Supreme Lord, everything else is a dream. Apart from the worship of the Lord himself, everything else is just a dream. So therefore, as you said, we could all just be dreaming. That we are taking that dream to be a reality. So anything aside from Krishna consciousness is a dream. So we have to wake up, that's the thing.
So he was speaking metaphorically.
Huh?
He was speaking metaphorically that this is not a dream. Dream as we dream at night. It's just in a metaphorical way of expressing.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, I don't know when you're in my dream right now.
Yeah, we are just dreaming basically, and we tend to enjoy the material. We tend to enjoy it. We are great, this and that, and then it's, that's just the nature of material world. But once you come to clinical,
some people or anything like that.
No, it's okay. It's not. No, it's it's correct. What Prabhupada says is correct.
It's had a great dessert, and I hope that wasn't a dream. People think this.
The whole material existence is a dream. And it's just, once you fully wake up, you say, oh, what a big dream. And there can be dreams of variety. Just like when Krishna was in he was in Dwarka, and he had, then, by thinking of Brijabasis, he became unconscious. And then they tried to figure out how to, and the Lord was full of separation. So Narada Muni was there, Lord Balaram was there, then Lord Brahma himself was there. So they tried to find out how to bring Krishna back how to bring him back so they can, because the Lord was completely lost himself. taking all the Brajavasis. So they decided to manifest a replica of Vrindavan. So they decided to manifest a replica of Vrindavan called Nava Vrindavan. And then they will wake up Krishna and say, hey, Krishna, we're in Vrindavan. And then, so a replica of Vrindavan was manifested. And in that replica, the whole Vrindavan was created along with all the Brajavasis. The Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and all that. So they all manifested. So, and then they wake up Krishna and say, hey, Krishna, we're in Vrindavan. And then Krishna wake up. And then when he wake up, he saw a form of Yashoda, Mother Yashoda. Well, it was just a form. It wasn't the actual Mother Yashoda, but it was created. So but Krishna thought that it was with Mother Yashoda. And then he was telling Mother Yashoda, hey, Maya, I just had a dream. I just had a big dream. And in this dream, I saw that, I was in Mathura, then I went to Dwarka, and I became a king. I have many, many wives. I have many children. This and that. I was just a dream because Krishna felt that now he just woke up from his dream. Now he said, he said, I just had a dream. By being a king, I have having so many wives and children and all that. So I just had this dream. So he was speaking to Mother Yashoda this way, but Mother Yashoda was not replying because she was just a doll. And then, he said, Maya, okay. Now I'm going to make the cows now. I'm going to make the cows. And so it was a nice, beautiful pastime, which is narrated in the, in some of our book, Bhagavatamita, by Sanatana Goswami. So this was described this way. So the dream, we are dreamers. We are dreamers. Okay. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. So thank you for coming. I hope you're able to understand.